Are you over 25? Have a clean driving record? No DUIs? You can drop your auto insurance rate to as low as $19 a month.
Have you ever watched the Matt Dillahunty debate?
Worked with those guys before. Let me just go over to the Facebook page and post why what he's supposedly saying just isn't accurate.
Right.
And it got completely ignored. And then it was like, look at what another atheist has to say. And then it was like a quote from you. And I'm like, what the fuck did Paul have to do with this goddamn video? I'm trying to talk to you to explain a clear misunderstanding, and you're just worried about how good the video's doing?
I mean, I don't want to darken your day if you'd rather not listen to it.
Oh, I'm happy to address whatever he's actually saying as presented by you in this con.
During Matt's opening speech, he said that claims are not evidence. Now, as we'll see throughout this video, it's actually pretty easy to see what's wrong with this idea. So let's watch a few clips from Matt to get the context.
When you say Jesus appeared to the 500, that's just a claim. We've spoken to no one from the 500, no one who was there to even speak to the 500 or anything else.
What's important there is that Jesus spoke to the 500 is a claim. And if somebody says,
this is so weird that
I'm
this
one
shit
of the
is
500
normal
and I heard Jesus spoke to me, that's a claim
like
plus testimonial evidence. And that's the conflation of the two is what he's ignoring.
But it's not the evidence. It is the claim. It is a bunch of claims.
I feel like
and it is claims upon claims as well.
I should always
how
do
this
my stream
distinction
like
is supposed
this
to actually work. So a little later on in the discussion, I asked him to clarify what he meant by this distinction. I'll play the clip for you guys, we'll listen to his response, and then I'll offer a breakdown, a Pertusian breakdown of what I think is going on here.
What's the guy's name? I am Lord Croft. Motherfucker always keeps his face covered. Why do you have your face covered, sir? It's COVID season, man. COVID season. You know what I'm saying? You can't go out in public with your face exposed anymore. Yeah. I do this to protect you from me, and to protect me from you. So also, if I knock you over the head and take your wallet, you have no clue who I am now. Yeah, I remember when it was illegal to wear a face mask. Now it's mandatory to wear a face mask. This world is confusing. I'm so confused these days. I don't know what to do. I get nervous going into a store like this. You understand what I'm saying? If I cover my face like this, I feel paranoid that somebody might suspect me as a robber just because I'm black and I have dreads and my face is covered. But people are losing that fear because it's so normal now. You can just walk anywhere and be like, hey, what's up? And everybody's just like, what's good? And it's the weirdest fucking thing.
So claims versus evidence. Would you mind defining those two? Like, what's that distinction?
Well, so a claim is an assertion that something is such and so, and evidence is actually evidence that supports the fact that it's thus and so.
So yes, to be fair, on the spot when asked to distinguish claims and evidence, I did in fact just say the claim is the claim and the evidence is the evidence. I was relying on the fact that we'd had a long discussion prior to that where I'd been a little bit more robust. But yeah, on the spot, that's a shitty... The claim is the claim and the evidence is the thing that supports the claim. That's not explanatory. And so I think what probably ends up happening in this is that I'm focused on the resurrection and the epistemology behind it. And for somebody to come along and say, can you please explain what you mean? What's the difference between claims and evidence? My brain probably just wasn't thinking in those terms of let me put this in simple terms so that people can get it, because I've been explaining this shit for, I don't know, a decade, or at least the last hour. So a claim is a positive statement of some event or fact that is purported to be true. And evidence is the collection of supporting information that lends itself to either demonstrating that the claim is likely true or that the claim isn't.
Yeah, this shit a fashion statement now, man. You might have me some Black Panther bandanas. Get me some Black Power Fist bandanas. Start just wearing them shits everywhere, yo. It's a new fashion trend. What? What you say? Nigga over there sneezing. Where you at? Point that nigga out. Who's sneezing? Yo, you over here sneezing, man? What's good with you, bro? Come on, let me holler at you, Wally. Yeah, we don't have that sneezing shit going on over here, man. You know what I'm saying? Can't afford, ain't nobody over here can afford to get sick. Alright, guys. I got some shit to do. Shit to do. Shit to do. I know I brought that motherfucking... No, I brought that drill in here.
I think it's important to note how unhelpful this distinction, this explanation that he gave actually is.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I wish I'd have done better.
Sometimes people make assertions or statements for assertion, but other times people make assertions because they have some deeper reason for thinking that that assertion is true. We call this a reasonable assertion.
I'm starting to go back to my definition of claim and evidence and think that they were actually brilliant. I mean, yes, I used evidence to describe evidence, but the key thing there was assertion. The claim is a statement of a proposed fact. I'm going to propose that Jesus rose from the dead. Cool. What is the evidence for? What is the reason for that? For him to come in and say that there's reasonable claims and unreasonable claims is to kind of jump to the end, because the whole thing we're trying to do is figure out, here's a claim. Is it reasonable to accept that claim? And the basis on which we would accept that claim and call it reasonable is the supporting evidence for it. And by evidence, of course, we're talking about facts and data that are otherwise accepted or individual testimonial accounts that we find reliable. He's essentially saying that there are reasonable claims and unreasonable claims. I don't know that that's anything other than just another assertion or a shortcut on his hand to rely on our intuitions about what is reasonable rather than the evidence about what's reasonable.
An unreasonable assertion would be if my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, told me that there are aliens on Mars eating buckets of ice cream every day. If I were to ask her where she got that from, she'd probably just say, well, I don't know, I made it up, I'm pretending. That's what she would say. So let's contrast that with a reasonable assertion. A reasonable assertion would be if she told me that while she was at school, one of the boys in her class fell down and busted his lip. If I asked her where she got that from, she would quickly tell me, oh, well, I saw it happen. So a reasonable assertion is based on something deeper, like an experience.
Oh, this is worse than I could have imagined. What he's actually doing here is almost exactly what I predicted he was going to do about 30 seconds before hearing this, which is relying on our intuitions. His daughter has a claim, his 4-year-old daughter has a claim that there are aliens in buckets of ice cream on another planet. And when asked where she got that, she says, I just made that up. Well, his reasoning for concluding that this was an unreasonable assertion was in asking for supporting evidence and getting nothing that he found reasonable. And when his daughter said that a boy fell down at school, he asks, where'd you get that? And she says, I saw it happen. And he's concluding that that is reasonable. What if his daughter had said, there were monsters dancing around in my bedroom last night? Well, where did you get that from? I saw it happen. Does that make the claim reasonable? His distinction of a reasonable claim and unreasonable claim is really, here's a claim. Let me analyze the available evidence for it, which, by the way, anytime we're assessing the available evidence for something, we are looking at it within the context of what we already know and understand to be true and reliable within the world. When somebody says, I got a new puppy, well, we all already know that dogs are real and puppies are real and people keep them as pets and people do. This collection of information exists in all of us. And this is what I mean when I say that he's relying on our intuitions rather than actually providing some clearer understanding of the distinction between a claim and an evidence. He is conflating the claim and the evidence into one package and saying this one's reasonable and this one's unreasonable. And most of his audience, including me, is likely to agree with him that the example of his daughter talking about aliens dancing in ice cream is unreasonable because it's not supported by evidence, because he basically poisoned the well right off the bat by saying, when I ask her, where did you get this? She says, I made it up. So he's constructed a straw man unreasonable claim and a straw man reasonable claim in order to leverage all of our intuitions about this, which has nothing to do with the fact that there are two claims here. Claim A is there are aliens dancing in ice cream, and claim B is a boy fell down and broke his lip. The one about a boy falling down and breaking his lip is already supported by the bulk of evidence that we all have about what happens. Children are clumsy. Children fall down. We've all busted our lip or seen somebody bust their lip. There's nothing at all that's remotely extraordinary about this claim. As a matter of fact, it's incredibly mundane. But we're relying on our understanding of the world and what is true. When the alien one comes in, we have no evidence for aliens. We have no evidence for ice cream on another planet or aliens dancing in ice cream. But we do have good evidence that 4-year-olds sometimes make up fanciful stories. And so all we're all doing there is relying on our intuition. That doesn't tell us which claim is true. It really also doesn't tell us on its own which claim is reasonable or unreasonable. He's relying on our intuitions to reach a point where we seem to be instantly able to say, that's a reasonable claim, that's an unreasonable claim, that's a reasonable claim, and that one's reasonable, and that one's unreasonable. And we all know this. That's what he's relying on. Not, here's a claim, and here's the supporting evidence for it. He hasn't done anything to make a distinction between the claim and evidence. Instead, he's either mashing the claim and evidence together, which is exactly what a testimonial account is. If the claim is, Jesus rose from the dead, that is different from the testimonial, which is, I witnessed Jesus rise from the dead. Because the second one is a claim, Jesus rose from the dead, and it's supported by direct evidence of, I witnessed this occurrence. If his daughter said, great-grandma came to me and spoke to me, he might conclude that that is a reasonable claim, that somehow or another the spirit of a loved one may have revisited the planet, because those things are consistent with what he already accepts to be true. And that's why our intuitions about what is reasonable or unreasonable actually betray us. Because in that sense, what becomes reasonable is just what is consistent with what I already accept and know. And by and large, we all operate that way. But if we're looking at this claim
and somebody else doesn't think that it's a reasonable claim, then we have to present the supporting evidence for that claim such that someone else would find it reasonable, not just with our own bag.
There's some cookies in it.
My daughter's assertion that there's aliens on Mars eating buckets of ice cream every day.
I thought he said
eating ice cream, not dancing.
Oh, and the first time he didn't say dancing?
No, it was just eating. But, dancing is more fun.
No, can we go back?
Sure, okay, let's do it. You don't trust my eyewitness testimony? Come on.
I just remember something in my head going, dancing and ice cream, that's weird.
Would be if my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, told me that there are aliens on Mars eating buckets of ice cream every day.
This is an example of the reliability of eyewitness testimony, right?
Yeah, I don't know what went through my head that I heard dancing and thought, but I would love to know what was going on in my brain when I was like, why would she be talking about aliens dancing and ice cream? I don't know. I'm 51 as of yesterday, so fuck it. I'm just getting old.
Happy birthday, Pat.
Thanks.
But now let's complicate things a little bit. Suppose that instead of telling me directly, she told her teacher, who then told my wife, who then told me. I'd still be in possession of pretty good evidence that a boy in her class fell down and busted his lip.
Yes, Cameron, you would be in possession of pretty good evidence. Why on earth do you want me to define claims and evidence, which I did poorly, when it's clear to me that you understand the distinction between the claim and evidence here? The claim is that a boy fell down, and the evidence is either your daughter tells you that she observed it, or she told the teacher, who tells your wife, who tells you. When we assess a claim and the evidence for the claim, there's a heuristic model I've talked about before, which doesn't necessarily happen in a particular order. We have trained ourselves to be so good at it that we do it almost reflexively. And that is, first of all, do I already believe this? Because if I already believe it, I don't have to go any further, or I probably should, but I am unlikely to go any further. The second one is, what is the source and how reliable is the source? The third one is, how does this claim fit with the facts of the universe that I already accept? Because there's a question we ask ourselves, which is, if I were to accept that this claim was true, what other things do I already accept about the universe as true? Would I have to change or stop accepting because of a conflict between the two? If you present a claim that requires me to foundationally change my understanding of the universe, then the evidence supporting your claim has to be stronger than the weight of all the evidence for the things that I already accept. When we look at evidence, we try to overcome our biases. And so when he puts together, here's a reasonable assertion, here's an unreasonable assertion, he's already injecting the available evidence and relying on our intuitions about the available evidence that we already have.
What this implies is that some claims can provide good evidence. In particular, what I've argued is can provide or can constitute good evidence.
They become reasonable assertions because there is good evidence.
I wish I had. Did you go find my comment on his channel?
I did, actually. Let me put it up on the screen. One sec.
Because I'm pretty sure that I addressed this.
If someone says, I saw X happen, that's a claim in the sense of an utterance. But it's a combination of a claim, X happened, with anecdotal, testimonial evidence included. You've evidently made an entire video to claim that I'm wrong when I'm speaking discreetly, and you're engaged in sloppy conflation of a claim plus evidence, which, by the way, is still a separate issue from how much evidence is sufficient to warrant belief. Instead of trying to find a gotcha and thinking you found a flaw in my epistemology, it'd help if you actually tried to understand what I said and sound epistemology, because videos like this are just making you look foolish.
Yeah, so that was the distinction I made. I saw X happen is a claim, X happened, and supporting evidence for it. I saw this. Whether or not that's sufficient to consider the claim reasonable or whether it's sufficient to warrant belief that the claim is likely true, those are separate issues. But at no point when I say claims aren't evidence, am I saying nothing uttered by a human being includes a claim and includes evidence as well. That's preposterous.
Before you watch any further, I think I know what you're thinking.
Uh-oh. I'm going to bet that he doesn't know what I'm thinking. So I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, because as I pointed out, he's constructed this reasonable and unreasonable, relying on our intuitions about the world. So when he talks about implicit claims and explicit claims, what I'm thinking is, that's not what you did. I was sitting here talking about an explicit, discrete claim, and you went with your implicit, hang on, here's a claim. I saw this happen, and that includes evidence, and thought I was excluding that when I wasn't. That's what's going on in my head.
I've seen this. His mind reading is
Ice
terrible.
cream and
I'm
cookies was
ignoring
so good,
Matt's
yo.
context here. I'm ignoring the context of where this claim came from. When Matt
Bro, that
says
shit
that
have me
claims are
feel
not
like a
evidence, he's not
little kid.
talking about every claim. He's talking about specific claims, namely claims about the miraculous, claims about like what happened to a boy falling down at school. That is not anything that's ordinary. But a claim about a miraculous event, that is extraordinary.
No, he's not actually trying to read minds. What he's trying to do is make it look like he's anticipated an objection and has already thought it through and has a counter for it. When what he's actually presenting isn't the actual objection, and this isn't a counter. It's like, my opponent might say that I'm doing this, but I'm not doing this because of this, when that's not what your opponent was going to be objecting to in the first place. I went through this with Dinesh on stage. I've never been strawmanned more thoroughly and completely in my entire life, because on several occasions he would make his case, and then he would say something like,
now you might say, I'm going to wait until the alien walks on stage, and then I'll believe it.
and I'm sitting here going, I'm literally sitting here on stage. Instead of saying what I might say, why not ask me what I would say? Because then we actually accurately represent my views rather than use straw man. And I have the same feeling about Cameron here, because I went to the Facebook page and replied in order to try to get a discussion going about this, and got no response. Instead, it was just, oh, my Dillahunty video is doing really good. Well, good for you. Let me take my coattails and move on.
All eyewitness testimony is delivered as an utterance, verbal or written.
What up?
But not all utterances contain eyewitness testimony.
When I say a claim is not
Alright, so
evidence,
I did a little bit of shit before I actually started streaming. The last commission that I finished was the black and white large scale canvas with the gold leaf gilding in the background. I had just varnished that actually. And then I don't know what that was, but it wasn't a piece of cookie. And then I have a older painting that I need to get shipped off. I had to take it out the frame, so now I just got a pretty decent frame still sitting here though. But you know what? Oh no, those are too big for this. I don't even paint on canvases this small no more. I don't even know what I can put back in this frame, man. My stuff don't fit in these little frames no more. Well, anyway, I had a little painting sitting around for years and years, and a friend of mine asked for it, so I'm gonna ship that off. So I took it out the frame and I revarnished it. I put I dusted off and cleaned it up and put a fresh layer of varnish on it. And so hopefully Monday afternoon, the commission that I did and the painting for a friend of mine, I can ship both of those off Monday. And I just got another commission yesterday. So I'm I already started on the new commission. But I'm about to work on that for a little while. And so I took the other painting I was working on. I had to take that off the easel. That painting is getting pushed back so much, show. But as long as these commissions keep rolling in, I have to put that shit on the back burner, buddy. I gotta make the dollars. Like making the dollars. Or I could sacrifice all my video game time and do more painting. But we already know. I'm not going to sacrifice my video game time. I sacrifice sleep first. So if I can't work on my own art and the commissions and play video games and get a full night of sleep, something got to get cut out the equation. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I don't like making sacrifices. Tell you, man, I'm in a semi state of depression. All because of new video games, man. These video games consume my life. You don't understand, like, Call of Duty owns me right now. No, for real. Like, that shit is calling me. I see why it's called Call of Duty right now. You know how these bitches be models on Instagram? I'm a fucking soldier in Call of Duty. That's all I be wanting to do. That shit like crack, nigga. I be trying to turn the PlayStation off. The motherfucking controller be going dead. The motherfucking headset be going dead. I'm trying to charge all this shit back up. I'm drinking coffee 2 o'clock in the morning. Shit is addiction, man. Video game addiction. You know what I'm saying? I want to go play the game now. But I can't. I need to paint. I got a commission. Yes. Got that new commission. Got to work on that painting. Stacking precious metals like Scrooge McDuck looking ass nigga. And can't nobody else swim through them gold coins, yo. How is that even possible? How can he the only motherfucker who can swim through the gold coins? He done practiced that shit so goddamn much. That's how much that motherfucker love that shit. He just going that shit like water. Everybody else tried to get in them coins. Motherfucker hit their head on them hard ass coin. Shit don't even make no damn sense. I'll be right back. After these messages, we'll be right. Y'all ain't old enough for that shit. Magic. This is the weirdest thing, yo. I don't know. Damn, that is so awkward. The combination, two smells, the smell of this actual bandana, because it was kind of tucked away in the drawer for a little while, or just kind of pulled it out, and it's one of those wood drawers. You know how fabric smells when it's in a wood drawer for a long time. It smells like it's been sitting in a dresser. So the bandana already had that dresser smell on it, and then I just blew that smoke through it. The smell of the smoke and the bandana together, shit smells like dog food, yo. Like, you ever had a dog? Like dried dog food? You know what dog food smells like. Dog food it's not like stink. It's not like, oh, dog food. Can't have this in my house. I like the bandana and smoke together smell like Purina puppy chow? What is that? That's that Ukanuba? Shit smell like some dog food, man. Shit is the weirdest thing. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna blow smoke through the bandana. That was kind of odd. Dog breath. Got dog breath. Whoa. I can smell that shit through your mask, boy. That shit is strong. Shit, you got halitosis. Motherfucker stepping out with some verbal diarrhea. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker always talking shit. That was that expensive shit. I used to feed my dog that shit, man. Shit cost too much, bro. Had to get none of the Walmart brand. Sam's Club. Fuck that. I'm saying. After a while, I just feed my dog nothing but leftovers. Huh, motherfucker? Eat what we eat, man. The dog got fat. Fuck it. You just an animal. I'm just an animal. It's all good, man. You be alright. You'll be alright. No, I ain't fed my dog human food. That shit too, man. Human food ain't even good for us. You wanna feed it to your dog? God damn, all that grease, hormones, steroids. You could Uber. You could Uber. You could. Wait a minute. I mean, you could Uber. You gonna give me a ride home? You can Uber, bitch. Uber. You could. Wait, damn, man, that laugh hit that smoke the wrong way. I can't even laugh and cough at the same time. Damn, you got me with that one though. Uber. You can Uber. Alright. I need something to drink, but I don't think I got no more waters up here. Please. Please. Son of a bitch. Water! I need water. Water! Should have been the actor, man. I should have been the actor. I can cry on cue. You want me to cry right now? I gotta be in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like if the emotions was real high, I could shed a tear. Like Cuba Gooding Jr., that motherfucker cried every movie he ever been in. That motherfucker cried, bro. How you cry so good, dog? Just tears everywhere. That's good acting. Have I ever painted a dog? Nope. I have not painted a dog. I have painted very few, if any, animals at all. I have painted horses. And I'm currently working on a mural of some sea life. Like an underwater scene. It's the most animals I've ever painted. A bunch of fish and some dolphins and a whale and a sea anemone. and some coral, because coral is actually alive, so that's an animal. I wish people would offer more commissions for me to paint dogs and turtles and birds, because I ain't gonna do it for myself. I like animals. I don't love animals. I'm not an animal lover. I don't hate animals though. I don't want people just like treating animals bad and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna donate no money to some wildlife preserve and conservation and nothing like that. You know, I ain't no tree hugger. But you know, I don't wear fur because it's too expensive. Yada yada yada. You know what? You know what? You know what? Yo, I forgot I got something else to do too. I gotta draw up designs. Well, basically, I gotta draw up the fucking design for this brush holder, which is so simple. It's a very very simple. Yo, there's just like so much shit. I may need to keep that. I don't need that picture. I don't need that picture. Don't need that picture. Don't need that picture. Don't need that picture. Alright. But I'll show you guys what I'm working on now. And so this is the last mural I did this is actually at my job. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's just a group of people, and they have a collective thought bubble of productive, positive, reinforcing words. And this is in our computer lab, and it's just on one wall in there. Can we get a better angle? So this is an up close of it. Several different people with several. You can tell just by their uniforms and clothing, their equipment and tools, that they all have different career fields. And so we help people do resume building and job searching. No matter what your previous occupations were. And so that's what our computer lab is for. That's where we do a lot of our online skill training. And so that's a picture of me doing some of the lettering. Another picture of me doing the lettering, filling in the word skills. That's the last painting I just did. I just varnished that. I can still smell the varnish a little bit over here even. So this is the the second mural I started to work on. We wanted it to be kind of high up on the wall, so I just taped out that rectangle right there. Had to do a little patch. That's me working on. So most of the time, if I do a time-lapse video, I don't really stream it on YouTube. So I have several. I say a lot of times, if you don't see me for a couple days, I still be painting. I just don't stream. And then recently, I've been having issues with maintaining a connection to the PlayStation Network for live stream. It's weird. That's me cooking up that food, boy. You know, I'm talking about some homemade cheesesteaks and fries. Oh, I got some sweet potatoes. Might make some sweet potato fries tonight, there, boy. So that's the square. You can still see the tape where I outlined it on the wall and started filling in the sky. You can see this little blue right there is a reference photo. I just got that shit offline, just like some free shit. And so basically doing that. Filtering in a little more. Starting to look all nice and colorful like the ocean. You can see the outline for some of the aquatic life. I don't know what's the big difference in these two. Really can't. I don't know. Really can't tell. Oh, I added some darker colors to the corners. Yeah, you can tell now. Like this corner right here, if you look behind this fish, it's still kind of lighter blue right there. So I just darken that up over there and darken the corners up more to bring that dark blue of the ocean bottom like up a little higher on the edges. Some more dinners. What is that? That's some salmon and rice and some butter beans and some fresh asparagus. Man, y'all don't eat food like that, man. Anyway, more butter beans. What are we doing here? Oh, snap. So here we filled in the well up here. I got the dolphins getting filled in. Little blue fish right there. One fish, two. Oh, not them kebabs. Steak kebabs. Man, y'all don't eat shit like that, bro. Watch out, now. Y'all be playing spades on my phone? Yo, look at the hand. Y'all got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spades, 2 aces, a king. I was like, I went a Boston in that hand. I was like, damn, they gave me the shit just now, yo. You get all that. God damn. Let me take a picture of this spade hand. That's that kind of hand you be wanting in real life. That's when you give your homie the motherfucking eye and a little teeny ass nod, because you ain't supposed to talk across the board. But anyway, with a hand like that, you gonna have to tell him like, nigga, I got all this. Damn, more food, man. Wait a minute, y'all don't be eating like that, yo. I got that linguine and clam sauce, some Brussels sprouts with butter and garlic, and some croissant rolls. Man, it's just pasta. All you gotta do is boil the noodles, man. Clam sauce, that bitch come in a jar. Like, some dudes be like, man, I don't know how to cook. Like, nigga, it's pasta. Like kebabs. Like, I don't know how to cook. Motherfucker, you chop shit up and you stick it on a fucking stick. Put that shit on a fire until it's done. Like, how can't you do that? Anyway, back to the mural. Oh, that boy got the fucking turtle colored in. Got the little yellow fish, 1 fish, 2 fish, yellow fish, blue fish, and the turtle. The little white fish in the front. Shit coming along nice. More pictures of that. More pictures. Started filling in the corals and all the shit down there in the bottom.
getting more colorful with the yellows and the greens, the pinks and the oranges. Oh, you can see the fucking light from the fucking camera when you look at it with a camera. That shit crazy, right? Your phone is always doing that. It's infrared. You just can't see it with your naked eye, though. The remote control does it too. If you point that shit at your remote control, you can see the fucking laser in that shit. Anyway, this is how I take breaks at work. Cause my job is cushy like that. We got some masks at work. They came from China. Yeah. How you give us masks from China? Like, you can't read none of that shit. It's all in Chinese. Like, alright. That's so weird. More of the trying to start filling in the bottom of the mural now. Coming across, putting in the first layer of like greens and oranges for this next portion of coral. Then there's still like several fish to go. There's a lot of little details, like little small rocks like those, and more little stuff in the background I'm gonna have to do. But yeah, now you can see the difference in like the first base layer, and then how I try to make it more textured and three-dimensional looking. Starting to add like smaller little details like that in the background. And this is all just like regular wall paint. It's not like any kind of special professional painter's grade art supply, whatever. It's just like, I got this shit from Sherwin-Williams, yo. Sherwin Williams. I can never, everybody be like Sherman, whatever. Anyway, from the paint stuff. That's why I got the fucking paint from. But it's almost done, yo. I got like this last little stretch at the bottom right there to fill in. And then, like I say, go back and throw like some little small details throughout here and there. Add some shit up in there. Then that'll be done. And then I have, they gave me another wall. And so there's going to be like one more wall that I'll be able to paint on. And on that wall, we're going to do a safari scene. So that should be fun. We'll paint some motherfucking rhinoceroses and giraffes. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. A monkey swinging in the tree. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So it should be very, very interesting. And this is all I've been doing at work, like, since the whole COVID-19 shit started. They're like, look, Trap, you just stay at the building, you come to work every day, you know, just keep the building clean or whatever. You can do some murals on the walls, and yeah, just do that until everything's back to normal. I'm like, cool, say no more. Say no more, yo. That's all I got to do. Paint on the walls, sweep up. I'm good. I want shit to go back to normal, but my job, I wish my job could just stay like this, yo. I ain't gonna lie. And then then I got, like I said, a whole nother mural to do too. I'm not trying to rush through this. I'm about to take my time. Make sure these murals look nice and professional grade. I might get a bonus. I'm gonna say something about it. Cause nobody, there's like, ooh, would you like to do some murals? And I was like,
murals, as in like more than one. Yeah. Like how big? Well, they just we started talking about it, but initially I was supposed to have some college students help me. It was supposed to be a collaboration between our organization and the local university where the college kids could get some volunteer hours towards whatever credits they need, and we can have our, because we're supposed to like help people volunteer and stuff too, so it was like perfect for both of our organizations, and so I wasn't supposed to be doing everything by myself anyway. I was supposed to have like 7 or 8 kids with me, and so, but since this whole shit popped off, of course they can't come, and so I'm just doing all of it by myself. And so when it's over, I'm gonna be like, excuse me, those murals that I did by myself, normally, if I were to do that, you know, for any other reason, for any other client, that would be very expensive. Like, very expensive. So, I mean, since I work here, you know, I just need like X amount for my art, you know? And with I swear to God, yo, with my organization, yo, I'm about 75% sure they'll give me that shit, yo. You know, that's pretty high percentage. About 75%. You know what? If I don't ask for anything, I'm about 75% sure they would still like offer me something. Like, hey Travis, on the next pay period, we're gonna put like such amount of, you know, in your, for your paycheck, for the bonus, for the murals. And I'm pretty sure like if I don't ask, it may still go that way. But if I ask, it might be like an 85% chance, 90% chance that I'll get something. But it's pretty high. It's pretty high. For the first one with the people in this, the work people, I actually chose that. It was weird. I posted it online, yo, and my sister said the same thing. She was like, "Why is there more white people than black people?" I'm like, "Look, yo, for one, for find a source image, like the one that I found with the particular cartoon style that looked appealing to me, the source image had no black people in it. It was just, I was like, this is the coolest looking one animation wise, and like organization wise, and it's like, but there's no black people in it. So I actually added 2 black people and a Spanish guy, or however you may look at the one guy. He's kind of middle brownish color, Arab or whatever. It says 2 black. You can see 2 dark skinned people and a brown skinned person, and then the white people. But it was like, I was like, yeah, you know. I guess when it comes to the workforce, they don't think black people be looking for jobs, you know. But yeah, that too. But at the same time, this I be looking at shit, yo. The black dude, with the motherfucking, with the holding the 2x4, this motherfucker own his own construction company. You know what I'm saying? He probably still working, but he worked for himself. The white dude in the suit, that motherfucker, he worked for somebody else. He don't own his own company. You know what I'm saying? He not working for himself. And that's cool too. If you want to put on a suit and tie and go work for somebody else all day, your little 40 hours a week or whatever you do, if you on a salary or whatever, or if you don't mind getting your hands dirty and building up your own construction company and going out there, you know what I'm saying, getting your shit in, it's all good. Shit. I did construction for motherfucking years. That's why I put dreads on him. He resembled me. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, I even had my own little painting company for a little while out there making hustles. Doing painting and remodeling interiors. You know, you want your living room or your kitchen or some shit done, hit me up. I said I did that shit. Worked for myself. Just because a motherfucker got a suit on, that shit don't really mean shit. Don't let that suit fool you. You know what I'm saying? Ashton. Yeah, them suit and ties, you know why they wear a tie? So they can lead you around by that shit. You know what I'm saying? Come here, boy. Grab you by that tie. Tie ain't nothing but a noose. It's just a different knot. It's still a slip knot. That's why it slides. It's a slip knot, just like a noose. It's a slip knot. Same shit. Hey, shit. Well, I don't know what it is. I never respected a suit. I wear suits and I have ties. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just never. That shit never. That shit never like struck me as like I should respect you, cause that's how you dress. Like fuck your suit. But still, you know what I'm saying? You look good in a suit. The suit make you look good, especially if you wear that shit right. That shit some good fabric, a nice color. What? Suits look good. I ain't gonna automatically respect you or think highly of you or assume anything about you because you got a suit on and I got on some fucking dirty ass Timbs and some work pants and a tape measure on my hip. You know what I'm saying? And my hands dirty. Don't give a fuck about your suit, nigga. Shit. This motherfucker say it's like wearing pajamas. You know, like having jeans. And jeans is cotton, but it's denim. And then you can have a fucking cotton shirt and it feel different. You know what I'm saying? And I was like my whole shit feeling the same. Fucking got no goddamn pajamas with this shit, man. What the fuck? Oh goddamn shit, man. You need to get you a corduroy suit. That's what you need. You need a corduroy suit. Take this dog food bandana off. She got my neck stink. Yo, we got trolls rolling together again. Yo, Art, you still in here? Watch out, man. I got moderators in here, man. What the fuck kind of stupid ass question is that? Normally don't even acknowledge the weird questions. You know what I'm saying? But I know during this lockdown, you know, you trying to get your COVID confessionals, your quarantine diaries and all that shit going, man. But the trolling, it's no funnier now than it was when shit was normal. But I get it though. I get it. I know you motherfuckers bored as fuck. You ain't got nobody else to fucking talk to right now. And you just want somebody to fucking acknowledge your existence. I will. Look, I'm going to answer your question, right? Watch. Do I have a wig on? No. I'm not wearing a wig. Madness in Ashton. You guys feel fucking better now that somebody said your name? That we know that you're a person? You'll be alright, dude. You guys could have just fucking sat in here and chill. I mean, if that's... I want to say something. Do you have a wig on? Fuckers are crazy. Motherfuckers crazy, bro. I'm not a troll. I'm just asking trolly questions. No, I like fucking with them every once in a while. Cause I don't get a lot of trolls. It's just a weird ass question. I mean, it's just a dumb question, man. It's just a dumb question. Why I'm gonna be sitting in my damn house with a wig and a hat on? That's how I just chill at home in the house. You know what I'm saying? Let's put my wig on. Put my hat on top of my wig so it don't blow away. Don't want my wig to fall off. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers crazy, boy. Motherfucker ask some dumbass questions. And then tell me that he loves me. Hey. Good afternoon, my good sir, Mr. Mover. I don't know, that was it. The dude just come here, two guys just pop in here, and both of the motherfuckers ask the same question, like, are you wearing a wig? I don't know. I was just gonna and keep going like Fox said, but I was like, I put that shit back real quick, like, wait a minute. The fuck kind of question is this? I was like, they just need attention. Sometimes you can see that, yo. Some people they just want attention. But they get it in a weird way. You could have asked so many other different questions, man. Like, how long have you been growing your hair? And then I would have said, oh, this is a wig. If it was a wig, you know, that's a different roundabout way. But just popping up, be like, is that a wig? Like, no, it's not a wig, dude. I get it though. I heard another stranger just say, well, it's two complete strangers. One stranger made a comment about my hair, and another complete stranger chimed in, well, you know, most of the time it's weave. Fuck you. Fuck you. I said it to myself because I can't be the angry black man in public, yo. So it's just like, woosah or woosah, for they know not what they do. They just, motherfuckers don't, you know, it's whatever. That's in public. You know, motherfucker coming in the stream with the, is that a wig? I don't know what to say about him, bro. I don't know what to say sometimes, man. Don't know what to say when they ask me a corny question, and I don't know what to say when they ask me a corny question. I could have just said no, but it seems so simple, so I had to go. Never mind, let me stop. Let me stop while I'm ahead. Let me stop while I got a wig on my head. Wow, out of all the suggestions from my YouTube, like, there is absolutely nothing that I want to listen to. What if I scroll all the way back, reset? No, you won't reset like that. Reset. Give me something else, YouTube. Try again. Let's see if we can. Try again. What's this? First suggestion is me. You want to watch yourself? No, YouTube. Let's not always put me first, bro. Like, Nardwuar. I've been watching a lot of Nardwuar. That dude is funny as shit, yo. Is Jericho the oldest city on Earth? No, because we found Göbekli Tepe. And Göbekli Tepe may be the oldest city on Earth, so, but this is 7 months ago? No. How can 7 months ago somebody even question that Jericho is the lost civilization discovered in the Americas? Duh. Everybody knows that shit. Around the Mississippi River, the motherfucking Grand Canyon, the goddamn Louisiana. Man, that shit everywhere. Virginia. Man, motherfuckers know ancient people is in the Americas. So we gonna watch this shit right here, yo. Jericho. But it says a question mark, though, like they're questioning it. I don't think Jericho is the oldest city on Earth. Now unless something is buried under Jericho that they found. Because that's how a lot of these older shits is. For some reason, man, it's like weird,
6,000 years before the present.
Yeah. No.
The colossal city.
Reason, like, a lot of older cities were fucking buried or covered up or built on top of. Or the city of Urk. I love talking about ancient civilization. So let's listen to this. If these people can convince us that Jericho is the oldest city on Earth.
Of Uruk, by far the largest in the world, dominated the southern Mesopotamian plains of modern-day Iraq. With a population of at least 50,000 people, Uruk wouldn't be surpassed in size or in numbers for an astonishing 3,000 years to come, until well into the Classical Age. The legendary homeland of Gilgamesh, a colossal mud brick wall said to have been erected by the great hero king himself, once enclosed the city's impressive 6-kilometer.
Yo, so who are you two guys, yo? I don't know. Yo, Blunt Mover, you being a moderator, can you see what they're saying? Because it has their comments hid. So they came in here one after the other and asked the same question: am I wearing a wig? And then a comment which is being blocked right now, because obviously not is the answer. So this motherfucker asked Ashton asked the question: so, do you think white people can say the N-word? He asked it once, it didn't go through. He typed it again, it didn't go through. He typed it again, it didn't go through. And then Madness types the same thing: do you think white people can say the N-word? And it didn't go through. So how many times... You know what? I'm almost through with both of you guys, yeah. Honestly.
Yet, impressive as it was, Uruk didn't exist in a vacuum. The city was simply the latest, albeit most successful, in a long line of similar experiments in living, dating all the way back to the Stone Age. More than 5,000 years before the founding of Uruk, other, smaller, though no less impressive settlements that began to coalesce and form in this region of the world. The very first known examples of static, communal living in history. In other words, though the exact definition varies, the first cities on Earth. The most well-known of these settlements, perhaps due to its often cited links to the biblical walls of Jericho of the Old Testament, remains arguably the most impressive of all. Jericho is a place of firsts. Here, 5,000 years before Uruk, can be found the first known settlement in history to be surrounded by walls. Some of the earliest evidence of cooperation between a group larger than a single clan or kinship. The first significant evidence of large-scale communal labour. And, when it was first discovered, the first tower, complete with walled steps, in history. What makes this especially striking is that besides a scattering of mysterious pictographic symbols, writing wouldn't develop for thousands of years to come. Even pottery didn't exist yet, though, nevertheless, these people still came together here all those millennia ago and achieved something astonishing. We don't know where they came from. We don't know their ethnicity. We don't know who their gods were. But we do know this may be one of the first places on Earth where animals were domesticated and agriculture experimented with on a wide scale. All of this was achieved an astonishing 11,000 years before the present, just a few centuries after the end of the last ice age, a time when woolly mammoths still walked the earth. What makes Jericho all the more fascinating is that, unlike other sites such as Uruk, which always rested upon fragile ecological roots and altering river courses, the spring here has never dried up, meaning people still live here today. This is the story of Jericho, one of the oldest cities on Earth. This video is sponsored by Magellan TV, a brand new educational streaming service with over 2,000 documentaries to watch on all manner of different subjects. Magellan's producers and curators have brought together an astounding collection of documentaries on history, science, nature, culture, and geography. These include films, series, and exclusive playlists you can't find anywhere else. Like Netflix, this is a streaming service, but made just for documentary lovers and knowledge seekers. You can watch Magellan anywhere, at any time, on any device.
For the simple fact that you're saying the N-word instead of actually typing out, and that's weird because if you were to type it, you're just typing it. You're not even really, you don't have to vocalize it for me to get the information of what you're trying to say. You can type it out. And it's so taboo that you won't even type out the whole word. You just write the letter N. And that's how taboo it is, even to your way of thinking. And if it wasn't so a off-putting subject, you wouldn't mind writing out Nigger or any other variation of the spelling or pronunciation of the word. So you're answering your own question by the way you formulate the question itself. Do you think white people, let me see your words exactly. What are your words? Do you think whites can say the letter N word? I don't know. What do you think? Some white people even scared to type the word out. Let alone say it. It's like, I bet not even spell this whole motherfucking word, man. I'm gonna drop some letters and put some asterisks in there or something. The N-word? Of course not. Absolutely 100% no. If you want to use a derogatory term openly and freely without judgment, biased, or question, then white people should call each other crackers, or honkies, or wiggers, or pink toes, or whatever other word you want to choose for yourselves. And you find one of those words, and then you can spell it however you want to. Like, you can change the I in whitey and make it a Y, or and then you walk up to each other and you say, "What's up, my cracker? What's up, my honky?" And y'all make that shit cool for yourselves. And whichever word you come to agree on, and then you tell everybody, well, y'all can't call us that. And y'all can't say this word anymore, like Karen. Even though Karen is a real name. Like, I don't get that. But anyway, and make one of your derogatory terms cool and fashionable, hip and trendy to use amongst yourselves, and to exclude other people from using it because you were able to do something as creative as take a negative and flip it into a positive. And so until you're able to do that, no, nobody should be able to use the N-word except people of African descent or of the African diaspora. Come up with your own shit. Make your own shit hot. You know how much creativity and ingenuity it took for us to put a fucking AH on the end of that shit, or just an A, and be like, yo, my nigga. You know how? Creative. You like that shit, don't it? It's amazing, isn't it? No, you can't use that fucking word, bro. That's our shit now. My nigga. Shit just sounds so smooth and so cool, so fresh and so hip. We've been saying this shit for so long and it will never go out of style. My nigga. Love that shit. Creativity is a fucking amazing how they do that. I don't even know how they did that shit. And I'm a part of the community. Like, when did y'all start doing that? How did y'all make that work that way? Where it's like your comrade now. Like, damn. Mind blown. But it still can mean so many things just on the nuances of the octaves when saying the word. Cause that's my nigga. Yo, fuck that nigga. So you know what it means. It's so nice. It's so good how we've done this to this word. I love it. It's ingenious even. But y'all can't do that shit with chink, spick, cracker. Y'all can't do that shit. Everybody just want to use the word we just flipped around. But we dummies. We the dumb ones, huh? Oh my God. Too much. Too much. I feel like I had to explain that to you, no, but when I explain it, it feels good though. It makes me happy. Exactly. We got the rights to that shit, motherfucker. Patent on that. Y'all ain't do that. We did that. Like I say, I don't know exactly who, how, when, or where they did that shit. But we know we did that shit, yo. We took nigger, you fucking nigger, and we turned it into nigga. Nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's almost the same word, but not really, because we changed the spelling and the pronunciation of it. But it's still it's still the same word, but not really. You see how we did that? That shit hot, yo. That shit is amazing. It's amazing how we did that. You know what I'm saying? Fuck your control. You're not gonna control me with this word no more. We gonna control the word now, okay?
Call me, you said, call me this to my face if you want to. Especially if you a stranger, because for some reason, some black people give certain white people the pass. Hey, it is what it is. You know, Rat Boy Tekashi 6ix9ine, he say that shit so much, but you don't even look black. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not Nicki Minaj, but what's the other girl? Cardi B. Like, hey, but some. Whatever, man. You know how, however you look at those situations. But for a straight up European, you're a straight up European. You already know for a fact you cannot go into a quote unquote ghetto or the hood, and we know these types of areas, and walk up to a strange black man and look him in the face and be like, "Yo, what's up, nigga?" You can't. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Why? Because there's, I would say greater, but I'm going to just put it at 50-50, just to keep it even. There is a 50-50 chance this motherfucker might knock you the fuck out on grounds of disrespect. And he's standing his grounds in self-defense. Because historically, strange white men who approach a black man and call him this name is normally going to threaten him with violence against his life. So a black man would feel compelled into a fight or flight situation, and most of them will have the adrenaline to go into fight mode and knock you the fuck out. And then you ask these weird ass questions. I mean, they're questions, and I can sit here and we can hash it out and talk it out, but are you wearing a wig? No, I'm not wearing a wig. No. It's a weird question. Can white people say the N-word? No. No, white people can't say the N-word. It's a weird ass question. It's not as I ain't even want to call it stupid, or outlandish or anything, man. It's weird. It seems some obvious. I'm supposed to be Captain Obvious. This is my stream. I play Captain Obvious. But y'all asking Captain Obvious ass questions over here, nigga. Is y'all American? You in America? Please tell me you Canadian, or you German and speak really good English or something, man. Lord, you can't be American asking these questions. Is that a wig? Can white people say the N-word? Where the fuck? Let me ask some questions. Where the fuck you from? You ain't from around here, is it? I can tell in your tone of voice. You sound foreign. I don't mean you got an accent. It's just the shit you saying ain't resonating well with me. It sounds strange. It sounds unfamiliar. It sounds foreign. You sound like a foreigner. Foreigners are unfamiliar. Unfamiliar people are strangers. Mom told me not to talk to strangers. You see where I'm going with this line of thinking? Foreign ass. This motherfucker say he love me. What the fuck? And it's two of them. Whoa. Yo, y'all won't believe who this commission is for, yo. Swear to God, yo. Y'all want to know who I'm doing this drawing for? I mean, this painting for, yo? Ronald Dump, yo, my dude, what up, bro? There's no power in the word. To a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? How do you get words? You gotta use letters. You put letters together. What you do? What you do when you put letters together? You're spelling. What is a spell? A spell is a magical charm or incantation. So when you speak spoken words, or when you speak the written word, you're spelling. You cast spells. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker still is in a mental slavery more than anything else. Even white people. White people suffer from all types of mental slaveries, where these spells have a significant indirect effect on your psyche, your psychology, and your perspective on what's real and what's not real, henceforth reality. So do words have power? You know? You gotta think about that. How else do we convey thoughts, ideas, and emotions? You gotta use something, right? Language is very powerful. Language is probably... Do words have power? I can't whistle for shit. It's all good though. Sometimes I have to let...
I was born in a small village.
Sometimes I have to let other people explain shit, because I mean, you can say that words don't have power, but then you can definitely argue that words are very powerful in themselves, bro.
I was born in a small village. I was still a child when we were raided by soldiers.
Foreign soldiers. Foreign.
Torn from my elders, I was made to speak their language. With each new post, my masters changed, along with the words they made me speak. With each change, I changed too. My thoughts, personality, how I saw right and wrong. Words can kill.
Time and again, the country was ruled by a foreign tongue. When he was a young boy, he lost his native language, the bedrock for any developing child. His country, his family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him.
Meet me on the corner, I'll be waiting on you. 1,000 years of better writing to forever. Fire on my feathers, fall from out of heaven. Fight without a weapon, life without a lesson. Lost, I'm my own boss, pay my own costs, fill my own goals, and my own hopes. Tired of all of this, wish I had a switch. One kiss, then you cut me off. Knowledge is the power, college is for cowards. Hollering for hours, swallowing the sour skin. Suck around the rim, speaking in on the life so sweet. The other side made it, why don't we?
Since ancient times, every civilization's ruler has had the same idea. When people unite under one will, they become stronger than the sum of their parts. And what do rulers use to bring people together? Language. This world will become one,
I have found the way. Race, tribal affiliations, national borders, even our faces will be irrelevant. The world that the boss envisioned will finally become a reality, and it will make mankind whole.
I'm a friend in the words, and my words sending words. Take away the pain, take away the hurt. Make a way to make a change, make it sane. Especially plan on staying on this earth. Low to the lows, highest to the highest. Highest to the sky, striving to revive. Dying to survive, who for the Christ. But it's cool, I'm still alive. And every breath is every left soul. And the family never kept whole. In the slum on the quest to be the best at being less. Never let go, the best grow to the next level. And it seems what it means to do the right things. Not to be the best king, but the best devil. So it's home for the crowns, torn from the ground. Roots by the roots, stone from the roots. On parade days, look at them rain down. Woo! I was brought here a slave, but I leave here a pharaoh.
America is a country of liberty, a meeting of immigrants. Instead of simply assimilating, its citizens live alongside others. So the Major sought a system that used information, words, to control the subconscious.
Words to control the subconscious.
In his eyes, the greatest symbiotic parasite the world's ever known isn't microbial. It's linguistic. Words are what keep civilization, our world, alive.
Alright, that's too deep for most people. Some people will not grasp half of that. But I still like to, just throw shit out there just for conversation fact. You know what I'm saying? Just put shit out there for conversation fact. No power in the word. Even the Bible said, in the beginning, there was the word. Everybody know. Words are powerful, motherfucker. Without words, you can't express ideas. Well, you can express ideas without words, but it's easier. Way ooh. Thorns for the crown. He said, thorns from the crown, torn from the ground, roses by the roots, thrown from the roof, on parade day, look at them fall down. I was brought here a slave, but I leave here a pharaoh. Y'all wanna know what song that was? I ain't gonna tell you. You should have Shazam that motherfucker.
Directly through the high-quality app, which also offers a wide selection of content in 4K at no extra cost.
4K.
There are no ads or limited access.
He sounds very smart with his accent. Who's the commission for it? Bruh, you don't even know! What? This motherfucker about to eat.
Those of you who head on over
Yo, it's you ever see my man Puff on the beat in the stream? Yo, this commission for my homie Puff, yo. Puff on the beat. He was like, yo, Trap, I want a painting. I'm like, word? He's like, I want a big one. I'm like, word? Yo. Alright, Puff, whatever. I'll send you the money now. I'm like, get it. Word? We in there. His daughter, this is his daughter. She older now. She's 6 years old now. But he want this baby picture done, yo.
Technique which allows researchers to accurately date their findings for the first time.
Man, Puff on the beat.
Archaeologists of the previous generation Perhaps
So you about to have one of them goddamn
Schliemann, the swashbuckling discoverer of Troy,
Trap House
whose
originals.
methods essentially amounted
I know
to
Puff too, yo. Like
bulldozing
in
the
real life,
ancient
yo.
cities
Known Puff
in
for
search of
years, man.
information, much of which was discovered, though untold more lost forever. This new core of scholars sought to meticulously uncover sites from the top down, whilst causing as little damage as possible. That archaeologist was Kathleen Kenyon, a student of the famous Sir Morton, often underwater due to rising sea levels. The geography of Jericho has changed little since the last ice age. Sitting comfortably between two mountain ranges and the Dead Sea, it not only rests in a naturally defensible location, but underground water supplies have fed the oasis here for as long as humans have lived in the region.
Yeah, but he says he's giving it away though. It's not even for him.
Thriving town, modern Jericho stretches over an area of some 15 kilometers, encompassing lush fields and orchards in a seemingly barren landscape due to the abundant underground water supplies. The actual work, however, was to be done at a solitary mound rising up over the settlement on one edge of town, known today as Tel Es Sultan. On first glance, Tel Es Sultan might have appeared to be a naturally occurring hill, especially before archaeological work had been carried out. Yet, in actuality, it is so much more. The hill itself is far from natural. Like all tells, it is actually the result of thousands of years of collapsed mud brick architecture. A mountain of the debris of previous cities, which collapsed, were leveled and eventually built over by successive generations down over the long millennia. As she approached the site, Kenyon knew that it was old. But just how old, she nor anyone else.
I say older cities just got built on top of, like, it's a good location. We're not far from the water. We got good soil here. You know what I'm saying? We got fucking mountain ranges right there. Good variation in wildlife. It's like, yo, this the perfect spot. Just build on top of this shit, yo. Fuck it. And that shit happened several times for several different civilizations where they died off and people came in and already found this site and just utilized what was already there and just moved in.
If you're still trying to figure out how to start an online business or how to get people to actually buy from
I'm trying to figure out how to get you off my computer, bro.
That I think you're gonna find
skip the
really
commercial? That's how? Excellent. That was easy.
The techniques Kenyon and her colleagues used are known as stratigraphic excavation. Meticulously noting soil layers as they dug, in order to date the various layers of habitation and get an accurate sequence of events. After some initial digging work and a re-evaluation of Garstang's conclusions, Kenyon decided there simply wasn't enough evidence to conclusively make the biblical connection.
Of course not,
As often
the Bible's not real.
more digging was needed, and Kenyon called in for backup. In the next year, a small army of labourers arrived at the site and work began. They wouldn't be finished until 1958, some 6 years later. By which time, Jericho had become one of the most famous archaeological sites in history.
Ain't got nothing but time. Quarantined out. Got these commissions rolling in on the quarantine.
John Garstang had initially dated the earliest settlement on the site to the 4th millennium BC. As far as most scholars at the time were concerned, the widespread domestication of agriculture and animals had only occurred around 1,000 years or so earlier. What Kenyon and her team found would change everything. Habitation had in fact continued at the site for an astonishing 8,000 years, between around 9,400 and 1580 BC, with the potential for even earlier habitation too. Though this end date was later amended to around 1400 BC and is still debated by scholars today, it doesn't change the overall implications of Kenyon's findings. Perhaps the most astonishing and iconic of the buildings discovered turned out not to be Garstang's walls, but a Neolithic tower which was built so much earlier, around 10,000 years ago. At the time, the earliest ever known on Earth. Today, more than half of the world's population live in cities. But there was once a time when this was far from the case. Up until around 11,000 years ago, the Earth had been locked into a seemingly endless ice age for eons. 25,000 years ago, reaching the coldest point of the last ice age, known as the last glacial maximum. From then on, however, a steady and gradual melt kicked in. Finally, after a brief return to cold conditions, known as the Younger Dryas, which may have in part helped kickstart agriculture out of necessity due to the difficult conditions it ushered in, the entire world returned to its pre-Ice Age warm period. And humans could finally flourish once more.
The Younger Dryas.
Bands of humans, often called
They say that shit.
Hunter-gatherers.
During the Younger Dryas, we already had cities and shit.
Huddled together for warmth, or simply lived much further south than they do today, found themselves living in a land of plenty. They hunted game, collected wild plants and grasses, and travelled from region to region, living a nomadic existence. By around 9,500 BC, groups of these people began to coalesce at natural springs, oases, and particularly abundant rivers in the wide arc of the Middle East we know today as the Fertile Crescent, due to its abundant food supplies. To either voluntarily or involuntarily, due to environmental pressures, begin a new experiment in human living. Helped along their way by the uniqueness of the grasses and seeds in this area, some of which could be cultivated and replanted by human hands, rather than simply gathered, and thus give a near inexhaustible food source for the future. Still semi-migratory at first, in time, as wild grasses began to be changed and made more edible by human hands, their descendants would settle down for good, ever experimenting with plants and animals in order to feed their families, a necessity which in time, due to overpopulation and overuse of natural resources, made their domestication both possible and necessary. One such site was Jericho, then a large oasis in the Jordan Valley. Underground tributaries perpetually flow from that river into the central mountains to the west, making life not only possible here, but incredibly fertile due to the unique low geography of the region, making it closer to the underground water surface. Home to an abundance of wild animals and plants, agriculture may have been harnessed here earlier than most other places on the planet. Though, of course, Jericho didn't exist in isolation. From its earliest days, the oasis lay at the heart of a thriving system of trading communities scattered throughout the Fertile Crescent. Though our evidence suggests Jericho was one of the largest of these, if not the largest, it almost certainly wasn't the earliest, nor the originator of the pre-pottery Neolithic culture which would come to dominate the site, nor farming or pastoralism, for these began elsewhere. In the 1990s, an archaeological discovery was made in modern-day southeastern Turkey that sent shockwaves through multiple academic disciplines. Famous the world over as Göbekli Tepe, perhaps the first religious centre on Earth.
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe.
This site is actually thought to have been built and used by numerous bands of
12,000 years ago.
affluent hunter-gatherers, perhaps sharing a common religion and culture. Strange animal figures all over the pillars here, and even on other neighbouring sites throughout the region, may even be pictographs, a form of primitive hieroglyphics, though their message is yet to be uncovered. As well as fueling the idea that religion, not agriculture, had in fact been the catalyst for the birth of civilization, the site also left tantalizing clues as to the origins of agriculture. For the very oldest known wild relative of wheat is found not too far away. It's not too much of a stretch to think that some of those at Jericho may have had some sort of connection with Göbekli Tepe. Professor Stephen Mithen even thinks it possible that after the ceremonies undertaken here, travellers would go back to their respective tribes with seeds and the secret of how to grow them. Work is still going on at Göbekli Tepe, and we learn more every year. Unfortunately, however, the similarly ancient and fascinating site of Jerf El Akmar, perhaps a similar
Never heard of that.
ceremonial
Jerf
centre
El
for hunter-gatherers
Akmar?
and contemporary with the earliest stages of settlement at Jericho, now lies under a lake, having been flooded in the 20th century to make way for a reservoir. This begs the question whether religion, in fact, was the prime mover in forming the first cities. Perhaps at first beginning as a ceremonial centre like Göbekli Tepe, and eventually, over time, as people gathered, they began to settle down and build a community. It may even be possible that some of the earliest farmers on Earth brought the secrets of their technology, grain, to the shrine here, before passing their secrets on during the festivities to other curious groups of hunter-gatherers, presumably in return for some other resource. In turn, they then could have brought the seed back with them to their homeland, along with other resources, such as obsidian in Jericho's case. Maybe the grain even had a ritualized religious quality about it. We may never know for sure, but what we do know is that by around 9000 BC, vast changes in stone technology and a whole new way of life came to the Fertile Crescent. For this was the Neolithic Revolution, the moment when people first adopted farming, raising animals, and communal living. The Tower of Jericho, often known simply as the Watchtower, is one of the most extraordinary buildings in human history. Not because of its intricate architecture, but simply because of how old it is. Nothing on its scale or size is found again for thousands upon thousands of years. At around 30 feet in diameter and 28 feet tall, it's estimated to have taken around 11,000 days of labour to build the tower, and that doesn't include planning or the quarrying of resources. When Kenyon first uncovered the tower, it was thought to be the first example of communal architecture on the planet, built around 8000 BC, a time when the vast majority of humans still lived a nomadic, hunter-gatherer existence. Its architecture, including walls 5 feet thick and an interior staircase leading up to the roof, seemed to be completely unprecedented in both scale and design. A significant portion of labour in the community must have been dedicated to its construction, implying a highly organised and motivated society. But what was the purpose of the tower? The settlement it stood at the heart of, part of the culture we know today as the pre-pottery Neolithic A, thrived from around 8,500 to 7,370 BC. It isn't the only settlement in the region. Similar sites existing at places such as Zad and Daraa. Yet, with an area of around 425,000 feet, Jericho is by far the largest we know of. Researchers have come up with all sorts of conclusions as to the purpose of the tower. Perhaps it was a giant grain holder, a defense against external enemies, an early form of castle, or even all of the above. One of the most convincing arguments, however, and one which links back to the ceremonial site of Göbekli Tepe, is that the tower served a religious function. The religion of the pre-pottery Neolithic people is still heavily debated, and though we'll probably never know exactly how it worked, we can find parallels with other earlier and later sites. See a cult of the mother goddess holding sway over the fertile present, interpreted in sculptures and artwork all over the region, even arguing that this inspired the leap to agriculture. Yet this remains a controversial idea, and others argue for male animalistic deities, often depicted with phalluses on sites such as Göbekli Tepe. Perhaps the horns of wild cattle buried underneath houses at pre-pottery Neolithic Jericho could be related to this animal cult. The tower itself contains tantalizingly little evidence. There is no pottery here, no bones or burials underneath it, and it is not linked to the other fortifications or buildings at the site. Yet, what else but religion, the very worldview of these people, could have motivated a construction such as this? Perhaps the tower facilitated accurate observations of the sky, both stars and the sun, or even their worship, doubling up as an observatory and temple. We know that in later ages, shrines and sanctuaries of deities would often be built on raised platforms in order to get closer to the heavens. This happened throughout the Americas, and even in the Greek and Roman world, with augurs on the Capitoline Hill looking to the birds to find their destinies. This tradition even survived into early Christianity, with late classical aesthetics living atop giant pillars to commune with God. Could the tower at Jericho be an early example of this tradition? And if so, who exactly was doing the communing, taking on the role of intermediary between the community below and the gods above? At the similar but slightly later site of Çatalhöyük, priest kings are thought to have controlled city life, a tradition certainly utilized by later Sumerian cities such as Uruk and Eridu, places with extremely prominent sky gods in their religions. Perhaps here at Jericho, 10,000 years ago, shamanistic priest kings directed rituals from the top of the tower, being closer to the other world by doing so. A leftover that their cultural descendants would continue to utilize for 10 millennia to come. As far as most people were concerned, that was that. Jericho had the oldest tower on Earth. Then, in 1999, without even particularly looking for it, a joint Polish-Syrian team found something astonishing. Not too far from the modern city of Aleppo. Once again, history would be rewritten, pushing the dates back by thousands of years. For at Tel Karamel in modern-day Syria, the team found not just one similar tower to Jericho, but 5 of them. possibly dating to an astonishing 2,000 years earlier, perhaps as early as 10,000 BC, making the site roughly contemporary with the ritual centre at Göbekli Tepe. Is tower building a long-lost tradition that once held sway all over the region, only surviving now in 2 places? Why did Tel Caramel have an astonishing 5 towers rather than 1? Were they used for the same functions? And did more of them exist at other yet undiscovered or already demolished or built over sites? So far, as of 2019, only around 2% of Tel Caramel has been uncovered. Unfortunately, with the outbreak of war in 2007, excavations were put on a near-permanent suspension. Only the future can tell what other secrets lie hidden underneath the earth, just waiting to be rediscovered. A city is usually defined as a place containing both living quarters as well as religious and civic buildings. The Tower of Jericho may have been both of the latter, sharing a religious as well as societal function by binding together the people of the region with a common cause. When first discovered, the tower had almost immediately been associated with the biblical story of Joshua, the early Israelite warlord said to have torn down the walls of the city using only trumpets and prayer, before launching, of course, into the customary sacking and mass death associated with that period of history. If you want to hear the biblical account of Jericho's destruction in its entirety, you can do so here, over on our second channel, Voices of the Past. And don't forget to subscribe for more historical content. Yet, of course, the tower is far too early to be connected in any way to the Bible. And interestingly, seems even unconnected to the defensive works surrounding the Neolithic settlement, which do include a ditch and a wall. Yet these works themselves may have been built not as a defense against external enemies, but to defend against natural flash floods which regularly beset the region. If you live in a mud house, flooding and the natural world are as much your enemy as outsiders. Perhaps more so, especially during this time when settlements of Jericho's size were near unheard of. The similarly ancient city of Çatalhöyük, for example, in modern-day Turkey, which reached its height slightly later than Jericho, has rather unorthodox architecture, having no streets and the houses only being accessible via ladders onto the roofs. Settled life here may have begun in part to protect against the attacks of wild animals. The natural world was of course still at the forefront of life at these early settlements. Though some animals may have been on the road to domestication, the main source of meat still seems to have been wild gazelle.
Wild
People
gazelle.
here were domesticating, but not on a huge scale yet, still living a mostly hunter-gatherer lifestyle from a sedentary position. The remains of gazelle, cattle, boar, sheep, and goat are found at Jericho, some of which may have been domesticated, though evidence is scarce, and it remains difficult to differentiate between wild and domesticated animals in the archaeological record. Maybe wild animals were being trapped and kept as food. A wild animal can be kept in a cage and fed before being eaten. It doesn't have to be domesticated. That takes a long time and many generations. The other major food source for these people was, of course, agricultural produce, including wheat, barley, peas, and beans. all of which had been gradually adapted from wild ancestors. The people at Jericho lived in round houses, around 14 feet in diameter, with sunken mud plaster floors. Each dwelling seems to have been pretty much identical, each with their own grain storage area, suggesting that every household had control of their own food, quite possibly being independent in terms of food production. This is very different to later Sumerian cities such as Uruk, where the priestly class held a deliberate monopoly over food production, and society itself was very socially stratified. Also, the houses of Jericho.
I've been telling Skynet, man. Hey, motherfucker gonna get tired of your shit sooner or later, bro.
Perhaps lived in by a distinct family or kinship group.
I tell this motherfucker every time. I'm surprised you're not banned yet.
The tribes who had first come to the city to work together all those centuries before.
I'm so fucking surprised you're not banned yet.
Grouped by profession and class, like in later Sumerian cities, people seem to have been grouped around tribal, suggesting little social distinction and differentiation between the lowest and highest levels of society. It's thought by many scholars that Jericho began rather spontaneously with no central organizational structure, perhaps being built from the ground up by hunter-gatherer groups, rather than deliberately built by priest-kings like the later Sumerian cities. After all, writing, the key to Uruk's success, doesn't appear for some 4 or 5 millennia to come, and pottery even wasn't invented yet. Once thought to have been something of an anomaly, in recent years, other similar settlements have been discovered in the West Bank region, all sharing a similar culture, often called Natufian, with the only major difference between these sites being Jericho's massive size, sprawling over a 10-acre area. Could these be outlying settlements of Jericho, or simply related sites, separated only by geography, but linked up in a shared economic and cultural area? We know from archaeological finds that Jericho enjoyed widespread trade links with various other sites throughout the Fertile Crescent, with obsidian, an especially sharp volcanic rock from Asia Minor, useful to make sharp blades, being a particularly prized material. During this ancient time, Jericho was almost certainly the focal point of this entire region. Its oasis was simply far more abundant than its neighbours. Yet, with great prosperity, always comes a price. Pre-pottery Neolithic A Jericho lasted until somewhere around 7,300 to 7,000 BC, at which time the tell appears to have been abandoned. Much of the town wall collapsed and the top of the tower eroded away. We don't know what ended the first city at Jericho, and all manner of conclusions have been drawn from the evidence. Earthquake, pestilence, outside invasion, decline in soil fertility, or all of the above have been suggested as possible causes. Yet, within just a couple of lifetimes, in a situation that would eventually become endemic over the long eons, a new city would arise on top of the old. One of the most iconic finds at Jericho dates not to the pre-pottery Neolithic A period of the Watchtower, but to the next settlement to arise in the city's long history. A new culture that seems to have taken over the entire region, perhaps after a brief period of decline and abandonment. Whether the pre-pottery Neolithic B culture arose as the result of internal change or an external invasion, we can't be sure. But we know more about their material culture than their predecessors. for these were the adherents of the skull cult. Perhaps one of the earliest known examples of ancestor worship. Catherine, living through an age of war and chaos, saw the pre-pottery Neolithic bee culture as a hostile, conquering people who drove out their predecessors through fire and bloodshed. Though in actuality this isn't at all clear and could have been a natural progression from the previous people, perhaps after environmental devastation. We know that this new group were probably more populous than their predecessors, perhaps growing to a settlement of around 2,000 people, all defended by a new, substantial wall. The round houses of the previous city were replaced by rectangular, sometimes two-storied buildings, suggesting a definitive cultural shift. Like their predecessors, houses here were still made of mud brick, but were organised around rectangular courtyards, with gypsum floors and plastered walls, often painted red with ochre. We know these dwellings were furnished with reed mats, and perhaps paintings, such as those at the contemporary city of Çatalhöyük, once adorned the walls, though evidence for this is scant. Though people still continued to hunt here, gazelles making up nearly half of the bones found in the archaeological record. Animals had definitely been domesticated too, with auroch, pigs and goats showing up in significant numbers. There is also evidence at other sites too of round houses being replaced by rectangular ones around this time, with a phase of fire destruction in between. Perhaps most notably at Beidha in modern-day Jordan, near the Nabatean city of Petra. Interestingly, 2 rooms were discovered here that may have been used for ceremonial purposes, along with 2 small figurines, thought by some to represent fertility deities. Also found throughout the region are animal and human-like figures, perhaps representing ancestors or spirits. Perhaps the most striking feature of pre-pottery Neolithic B Jericho, however, was the practice of plastering skulls, a tradition that seems to have been especially long-lasting and widespread. Upon death, the skull would be removed from the body, perhaps after being left outside to be picked clean by animals, or after a period on show for the community. It would then be filled with clay and external features moulded onto it with plaster, with shells often representing the eyes, and perhaps paint representing facial features. It seems that the body would then be buried underneath the household, with the skull seemingly left on display, though this is a matter of debate, with some seeming to be hidden away under the house. Evidence of similar practices has been found at neighbouring contemporary sites, such as Sheikh Ali, south of the Sea of Galilee, Tel Ramad near Damascus, Beidha near Petra, and Çatalhöyük in Turkey. But what was the purpose of dressing skulls like this? A minority of scholars view these as trophies taken from defeated foes, akin to later headhunting traditions found as far afield as Polynesia and Celtic Europe. Others see them as talismans to ward off evil spirits or ghosts of the deceased. The most likely answer, however, is that they are an example of a religious tradition found all over the world throughout history, particularly in early farming communities, such as those later found in Britain during the Neolithic period. Veneration of the ancestors. Ancestor worship takes a wide range of different forms and is carried out for a number of different reasons. It demonstrated continuity between past and present generations, perhaps preserving the wisdom of the generations that came before. It may also have been an early form of property claim, with household ownership being demonstrated through ancestral display. They may also have been simply some of the earliest portraits in human history, looked on to remember dearly missed loved ones. The pre-pottery Neolithic Bee settlement at Jericho was an extremely long-lived society, probably existing in much the same state over a period of around 1,000 years.
Terminated by Terminator.
A span of time from the present back to the time of King Canute. Longer than the entire history of the Western Roman Empire. Yet, nothing lasts forever. And just as Mesopotamia to the east saw the very first inklings of the greatness of Uruk to come, by around 6000 BC, a period of great decline in Palestine was about to set in. A catastrophe so devastating that some scholars see the region as remaining largely depopulated until the 5th millennium BC, well over 1,000 years later. Jericho would never be a regional centre again. The lengthy period of 2.5 millennia which separates the pre-pottery Neolithic Bee settlement from the Chalcolithic or Copper Age isn't easy to account for. According to Kenyon, the site was abandoned entirely by around 6000 BC, perhaps due to environmental degradation, coupled with overpopulation and poor weather conditions. There are tiny hints of similarly devastating conditions at other sites in the Fertile Crescent during this time, sparking fringe scholars to suggest that if there had been some kind of a genuine apocalyptic flood, half remembered in various later traditions, it may have been during this era that it happened. At Jericho, there may have been some form of continuation, but nothing as impressive as those that had come before. Nothing significant enough to leave a trace that we can find today. Perhaps people reverted back to a nomadic, pastoralist existence, as we know happened at other sites, gradually getting more food from their domesticated animals than anything else, and needing to travel to fairer pastures to get the best food for them. Perhaps, to a certain extent, this had happened even earlier, during the hiatus between the pre-pottery Neolithic settlements. Nevertheless, during this mysterious epoch of wandering tribes, huge changes began to occur. The adoption of pottery proving to be a huge societal bonus in increasing the population size of groups. Now, food could be kept safe from vermin and stored away for leaner times. Towards around 4000 BC,
word storage,
another huge
pottery is fucking amazing technology. Like I got something to hold this shit in, motherfucker. What do you do? I made a fucking pot. A what? I made a pot.
Was of course
out of what? Out of fucking clay, dude.
Soon it would change everything.
What are you gonna do with it? See, watch this, watch this, watch this. You take a piece of meat, you put it inside, and you put a lid on it.
Seems to have become
now,
gradually occupied on a
no rats can get it.
Once more.
Wow.
Though it remained a peripheral power, a material culture known as the Gasulium reigned over much of the region. But little evidence has been found at Jericho, despite one of their main settlements existing just a few kilometers away. This has led many scholars to surmise that Jericho wasn't settled again permanently on a significant basis until around 3000 BC. For the most part, in the vicinity of Jericho, this wasn't a time of cities or even large towns. Rather, it was an age of wanderers, small communities, and villages. Yet, as the third millennium dawned, with Uruk booming to the east, all that was to change, for the Bronze Age had begun.
Smelting.
By around 3000 BC, though astonishingly little is known about it, Jericho was once more definitively occupied, this time by a regional power wielding a cutting-edge new technology, bronze working. This was a period of writing in Mesopotamia and Egypt, though apparently not yet in Palestine, although walled cities with solid defences and ramparts did become increasingly common. Jericho was no exception, and before long defensive ramparts were built, and presumably some sort of an army maintained. By around 2600 BC, Jericho's population had reached heights never before seen, and 200 years later, an impressive palace complex was built. There was nothing particularly remarkable about Bronze Age Jericho, which in truth had always been much better off when its neighbouring powers weren't as powerful, allowing it to flourish as an independent state. This, of course, wasn't always the case, and by around 2300 BC, city life collapsed, perhaps in part due to warlike neighbours, but no doubt the old enemy of environmental catastrophe also having a part to play. Until around 2000 BC, the people at Jericho may have lived a semi-nomadic lifestyle once again. Yet, soon enough, a second Bronze Age Jericho would arise, the greatest yet seen. Significant archaeological data exists for Middle Bronze Age Jericho, including a vast cemetery containing vertical shaft tombs and underground burial chambers, the elaborate funerary offerings contained within perhaps reflecting the emergence of local kings. The city itself was surrounded by an extensive defensive wall, complete with rectangular towers and ditches. It's likely that these fortifications, the same seemingly destroyed by around 1500 BC, are the ones talked of in the Bible, allegedly in connection with Joshua and the Israelites. Yet, nevertheless, all that grandeur was about to be overshadowed. Not from Mesopotamia, where the great city of Uruk, long since having dwindled in size, now finding itself overpowered by its descendants, but from another cradle of civilization, this one to the south and the west. By around 1900 BC, an epic tale was put to papyrus in Imperial Egypt, land of the pharaohs. Compared to Shakespeare by some, the tale of Sinew is widely considered one of the finest works of ancient Egyptian literature. Set during the 20th century BC, close to 4,000 years ago, Sinew is an Egyptian official who flees from the imperial court after overhearing a suspect conversation connected to the death of the king. Eventually getting back to Egypt as an old man after various travels and adventures amongst the warlike people of Canaan to the north. This is the land of Jericho, and the story provides us with one of our earliest glimpses into life here, outside of the archaeological record. Egyptians held contempt for foreigners at the best of times, and the tale of Sinew is no exception to this, complaining of wretched Asiatics inhabiting the Levantine coast and the hinterlands. Though thought to be mostly fiction, the tale belays the reality that Egypt had a huge amount of influence on the region. In time, this would become a stranglehold, one that wouldn't fully be broken for close to 1,000 years. In the centuries to follow, inscriptions all over the region talk of Egyptian victories and conquests, and in all likelihood, Jericho was either populated in part by Egyptian colonial administrators or by pro-Egyptian subject peoples, probably Canaanites. A hypothesis that is further evidenced by the Amarna letters and the lack of mention of Jericho in the Egyptian curse tablets, written to smite enemies during this time. It also remains possible that Amorites, the later founders of the city of Babylon and in part of Syria, ruled here for a time too, as well as Hyksos, Hurrians, and Mitanni, all powerful warlike people that held sway here for a time. Between around 1700 to 1550 BC, Jericho reached its greatest heights. Having mostly lost its independence, the city may have become prosperous by changing allegiances whenever necessary, thus playing off rival powers against one another and securing its survival. Jericho's rise also reflects the growth of a chariot-riding ruling class, perhaps brought into the region by contacts with Indo-Europeans in Anatolia, and greater levels of urbanization in the region in general.
Are we about to...
What goes up, however, must come down, and at some point, apparently in the 16th century BC, the city was destroyed, for a century or more, no longer serving as an urban center. However, the wall supposedly destroyed by the Israelite Joshua was disappointingly non-existent at the site when excavated by Kenya. Though interestingly, in later excavations, there does seem to have been slight marks of habitation until around 1400 BC, the date traditionally associated with the wars.
I might just tone this canvas black or gray, actually. I don't normally do that, but I'm gonna just try something different this time, just because I feel like it.
Yet erosion and destruction from previous excavations inadvertently erased significant
I'm gonna give it like a minute or two for that outline to dry up.
It's unlikely we'll ever know the truth. It didn't take long for Jericho to be reoccupied once more by practically every power to hold sway in the region over the next 3,500 years to come. Today, Jericho is still famous for its allegedly biblical walls, attracting thousands of tourists every year. Though in truth, the real wonder of the site is the Neolithic Tower. What others lie out there just waiting to be discovered, to give up their secrets of 12,000 years past.
Oh, was just surfing motherfucking Facebook.
The Americas. Two vast continents coated with the ruins of ages gone by. From the sweltering marshes of the Mississippi, across the plains of Mexico, amidst the rainforests of the Amazon, to the highest peaks of the Andes. Storied and advanced ancient civilizations once called these lands home, with roots firmly embedded deep in the mists of time, many thousands of years ago, with the likes of the pyramid-building Norte Chico of the Peruvian coastline, and the mysterious Olmecs of the Mexican lowlands. Until the arrival of European disease in the 16th century, city-building agricultural societies with rich, intricate worldviews held sway. Philosopher kings of the Maya, vast cities of the Mexica Aztecs, home to hundreds of thousands, and their neighbors locked in bitter, eternal war. Mysterious Nazca of the coastal deserts,
The Nazca
gold-rich
line, yo.
metal workers of modern-day Colombia, and, of course, empire-building Inca of the Peruvian mountains.
Alright.
But what about the cultures that thrived in areas so remote, so untouched, that we barely know anything of their existence today? The Amazon is
That
one
should
example.
be dry.
Legends of lost cities in the forest, along with
I
endemic
thought it would be dry.
domesticated trees
Well,
and plants,
that was one of the
suggesting
last
landscape
lines.
once entirely molded
And if
and
it's
managed by
not
human hand,
all the way dry,
now almost entirely
it's
gone
not gonna be
into
like the
acidic
end of the
properties
fucking
of
world.
forest. But this isn't
Plus, I'm
the
getting
only
hungry.
pristine
I want to
rainforest
get this done.
found
I'm gonna go
on
have
some
something to eat
continents.
after this. Or probably play video games.
There is
And
another
since this is
place,
a commission and it's
even
Saturday
more
night,
remote,
I'll probably come back
untouched,
up here again later on this evening and work on this. Just
almost entirely
just to get along on it.
humans.
So if I don't, it's not a big deal. Of course, I'll be in here first thing in the morning, but there is a chance that I may come up in here tonight and try to get some oil, or at least get the palette ready, get the colors set up, or get something ready.
Located
I ain't gonna play
right
video
on the
games
ecological
all night.
hotspot of the equator, one of the last unexplored places on the planet.
I can't play games all night long.
In 2020, hundreds of miles of this collapse remains uninvestigated scientifically. A potential treasure trove of previously unknown landscapes. Many of the ones that we do know, however, are not friendly. With good reason, early European cartographers called this place the Gates of Hell. Barbed plants here can tear flesh from bone. The fer-de-lance, killer of more people in the Americas than any other snake, stalks through the long grass. Poisonous spiders, scorpions, and bullet ants swarm on the forest floor. Even more deadly, disease-ridden sandflies and mosquitoes infest wherever they can. And, of course, this is a perfect habitat for jaguars.
Jaguars.
One of the world's most powerful apex predators. A taste for human flesh. Even the landscape itself seems hostile to modern people, regularly beset by flash floods, sodden with pools of quicksand that can swallow a person whole. Even for veteran jungle explorers coated in protective clothing and hacking away with machetes, progress here is agonizingly slow-paced. But, as we shall see, it wasn't always this way. For centuries, stories have been told of a great lost city out in this rainforest. often said to be encased in walls of white stone. This legend of the Ciudad Blanca, the White City, is one that many Hondurans hear as children. Often said to be a cursed place. Sometimes watched over by colossal statues of monkey deities. Far-fetched this may seem.
Tempted by the fruit of another. And then the trip is discovered. I say going on. Since the Cuban
Small statues and carvings brought out of the forest over the years. In a subject mired in controversy, from time to time, locals claim to have visited this lost city, as well as all manner of outside expeditions launched over the years to find it. But, of course, it isn't easy to travel in Honduras, a place known for many years as the murder capital of the world.
Murder. You wanna go to Honduras? Yeah, let's go. Get yourself fucking whacked, bitch.
Spain in the early 19th century. This small Central American nation suffered more than most. At least 300 rebellions, coups, civil wars, and outside invasions conspiring to hinder its development at every turn.
My goddamn arm is tired. Let me tell you what, boy.
One of the most economically
Yo, can somebody gonna do this shit for me? It ain't even hard. Just slap some paint on it, kind of thin, so you can see through it. That's it, man. Just make sure you can see through the paint. But you gotta have some goddamn biceps and triceps and whatever else to do this shit, cause
collapsed under onslaught
nigga, shit, my arm is so tired.
North into Central America.
My arm is so tired right now.
The Mosquito region, in particular, becoming a prime
There's no
smugglers. Every year, vast amounts of cocaine are transported directly from here into the United States. And cartels rule much of the surrounding countryside and towns.
Damn right
Gangster
they do.
warlords with an iron grip. Though officially under the protection of the Honduran government, since being declared a World Heritage Site in the
putting that
1980s,
sage out.
in reality, state control rarely extends deep into this area, and illegal deforestation continues at a rapid pace, hacking further and further into this lost world. Its treasures disappearing into the black market and collections of wealthy private buyers. The neighbouring Maya, located mere kilometres away, are amongst the most studied cultures of the New World. The culture of Mosquitia, however, remains amongst the very
like
least.
mosquitoes?
Embodied by the legend of the White City.
Mosquitia in the White City.
This culture is so little known, it hasn't even been given a formal name. Because the region is so perilous, the Honduran government rarely issues permits for archaeologists to visit it, let alone anyone else. Nevertheless, over the last decade, using military-grade laser technology, the greatest advance in archaeology since carbon-14 dating, astonishing revelations have been made. Surveys from the sky revealing not just one lost city, but an entire city-building civilization. Occupying thousands of miles of eastern Honduras, at the ancient crossroads between Mesoamerica and the powerful Chibchan civilization to the south. Isolated now, once this place was at the center of continent-spanning trade routes from north to south. This isn't Aztec, it isn't Maya, it's something else entirely.
Get my phone out the way.
Until the last couple of years, not one of the sites of this ancient civilization has been comprehensively mapped. And next to nothing was known about them. Until now. In 2015, one of their
Lord, man, my arm is tired. But I don't even know how I'm gonna play video games well with this damaged shoulder I got. Can I get tennis elbow from painting?
500 years.
I'm gonna see if my insurance gonna cover this. I gotta have painter's liability coverage for all my joints and ligaments. Cause goddamn, I feel like my arm about to fall off.
Although some traces of the outside can be seen, like a potential
I gotta get back in the gym. I ain't been lifting weights or something. I gotta do some curls and some whatever it takes, dude. Like, jeez. I don't remember painting being this tiresome. I'm almost out of breath. I gotta stop smoking. Weird ass commercials. Skip that shit.
Is neighbouring cultures in architecture, culture, and society. Today, as cattle ranches get ever closer and deforestation continues, this whole area is still in grave danger of being lost. Secrets disappearing onto the black market.
Alright.
This is a story that has already spanned centuries. And it isn't over yet.
It isn't over
Not
yet.
by a long shot.
Not by a long shot.
This video is sponsored by a long-time supporter of the channel, the personal favourite of mine, the Great Courses Plus. Here you can find more than 11,000 lectures on practically any subject you can think of in both audio and video format by the leading experts in the world. You can access all of it seamlessly on your phone, your tablet, and your computer. This is a university-level education at a fraction of the price. And one of my go-to sources for information whenever I'm researching a new topic. One course amongst many that I enjoyed recently is The History of the Ancient World, A Global Perspective by Professor Gregory Aldrete. Whether you're an expert or a complete beginner, these courses are for you. You can help me out and get yourself some free knowledge by signing up today to a free trial of the Great Courses Plus by clicking on my link in the description below, or by going to thegreatcoursesplus.com/historytime. It's 15.
Like I say, man, I've been trying to stream a lot lately, yo, for the past day or so. I cannot keep the fucking stream going. And when the stream does start, we can't keep the comments going. But whatever, guys. You know how I be. You can look at the phone, get messages that way. I'm about to go grab something to eat. I got a chicken box that I'm gonna finish up. I should have like
off the coast of Honduras with the remnants of
I should have like 2 pieces of chicken and some fries left. Man, I'm gonna go heat that bitch up and eat that shit. And then I'm gonna play some video games. And then I guess I might come back in the studio. Oh man, this commission came right on time too. I had to go pay my yesterday I already had it in mind to pay my property taxes today. You get your first half of the year property taxes, your second half of the year property taxes. So all my property taxes for the first half of the year are done, and then I have a property in South Carolina that I only pay on that once a year. So I want to kick out like $600 this month. I mean this morning, just for fucking property taxes. And I was like, fuck.
I was, like I said, I already knew. I had the notices in my bill section, like to the front of the bills for like a week or so. I was like, gotta get to those property taxes. So yesterday I was like, I'll just do that shit tomorrow. I cried, shed that one little tear. Like I can go get a pair of Jordans with that shit, but I can't get Jordans because I gotta pay property taxes. But and then my homeboy hit me up. He was like, yo, it was good. Like, shit, chilling, whatever, whoop. We just busted up for a minute, talked for a hot second, got off the phone. Motherfucker called me back. Man, I want you to do a painting for me. Word? He done sent me a deposit and everything. I was like, boy, you came through on time just now, boy, you don't even know. Woo! Yeah, them property taxes was due, nigga. Needed that deposit. Now my bank account don't look too bad. I hate taking out big ass chunks like that at the time, yo. Anything over $500, I be like, die. Woo! Put that 500 back. Put that back in the account, man. Don't pull the whole thing out. That shit gone. Fuck. But it's all good, At least my property's paid for, and I got another commission to subsidize my income. Just finished the commission, working on the commission, gonna get another commission. I love this art shit, man. This shit ain't too bad. It helps me out. And then shit get back to normal. I gotta get back in the galleries, man, and get back to selling some more art. Oh, the local gallery that I show at, the curator asked me if I could do a live instructional live stream from the gallery's Facebook page. And they said, hey Travis, whatever you want to do, as long as it's 30 minutes long, and we'll pay you for it. You want me to do a 30-minute live stream? There you go. Bitch, I do 3-hour live streams. 30 minutes, piece of cake, boy. This shit piece of cake, son. 30 minutes. Y'all gonna pay me? How much? I'm gonna make that in 30 minutes. Hell, sign me up. How many times y'all want me to do this shit? I do this shit once a week, yo. But I got that coming up on Wednesday. Wednesday at 6 p.m. I'll be doing a live stream from AFA's Facebook page. And then I have some more good news. There was something else. There was something else. Must not have been that important, because I would have remembered that shit. I remember important shit. Yo, it fucking snowed today. Can you guys believe that? Yo, we got snow earlier today. Like, fucking snow. In May. It fucking snowed. Yo, it snowed in May. But it was like 30-something degrees. It was like 31 degrees last night. It ain't nothing but like 35 degrees outside right now. Cold as shit. In May. I ain't been able to turn my heat off yet. You know how much my gas bill is? It's ridiculous. That's how much it is. It's a ridiculous amount. I've been paying this shit all year. Can it get hot enough outside so I can turn my fucking gas off? I'm tired of running the goddamn heat. Anyway, guys, I will be streaming some Call of Duty. Yo, I've been doing that Battle Royale solos lately. Yo, I'm really liking that solo shit. I ain't that good at it. I only won that shit one time so far. But yesterday, I came in 2nd place. I came in 4th place. I came in 7th place. And then those are the only times I came in the top 10. Like, I was coming in like 15th or 18th, and a lot of the times I was like 40 or 50 or something like that. But a couple of times, I was like second and fifth and seventh, like almost to the top, man. Yo, that second place win I got, I swear to God, I thought I was gonna win that shit, bro. I could not find this little bitch, yo. This motherfucker waited. You know what it is? In the Battle Royale solos, I be peeping this shit, yo. The last 2 items you need to have is a fucking gas mask and a heartbeat sensor, yo. You get that gas mask and that heartbeat sensor, because that motherfucker stayed right in the fucking gas, and he wait till he saw me move and fucking snipe the shit out my ass. Pow! But he had that gas mask on and the heartbeat sensor. I gotta use that strategy. Matter of fact, I'm about to go use this strategy now. Yo, appreciate y'all chilling with me in the studio, keeping me company with all the interesting conversations and comments, debates and arguments. I really do appreciate it, guys. I do this for us. You know what I'm saying? We those weird motherfuckers that is hard to entertain, so we got to keep each other company. You know what I'm saying? So I really do appreciate it, and you guys are definitely a major source of my motivation for my art. You know what I'm saying? Because I do know there are people out there who appreciate this shit. So once again, man, it's been a pretty decent year so far. I've already done several commissions and keep getting more commissions coming in. So I'm selling art and getting art into people's homes, people who are going to appreciate and cherish it and take care of it, which is the only thing that I ever want with my art, is for somebody else to want that shit as much as I do. So until next time, y'all guys stay easy. I say I'm about to go play games. I'm gonna stream that. If y'all want to watch me get my ass bust on some Call of Duty, you're more than welcome to. If not, definitely keep checking on my notifications for the pop-ups, because I may be back in here this evening, and if not tonight, I'll definitely be back here in the morning. With that being said, catch y'all guys next time. Peace.